Hi VC, Vinyl Tag 2017. I thought I'd give it a shot, seeing as I'm fairly new to making videos on here, and give me an excuse to get some more of my old records out and some newer ones out, and go down this vinyl tag list. Been enjoying yours, so I thought, like I said, I'd give it a shot myself. So first question, how many records do you own? Well, I've got a spreadsheet with them all on, which is, I know it's a bit sad, but I've got quite a lot of records, so I found out I was buying a lot of duplicates that I've forgotten that I bought originally. So the only way to get around that was by making a spreadsheet. So if I'm in a shop and I think I've got something, or I'm not sure if I've got something, I'll quick whiz down the spreadsheet, and it seems to work quite well. So I've got just under 3,000 albums. I've got 1,500 12-inch singles, 200 10-inch records, round about, just over. Some albums, some are singles, and 2,300 7-inch singles. I need to trim it down a bit, really. The record player I've got is a Denon 200. It's not a very exciting one, because when I first started buying vinyl again, I was buying a lot of second-hand stuff that wasn't always in great condition, so I kind of wanted an entry-level record player. I do need to upgrade now, because I'm buying much sort of more higher standard vinyl and a lot of new vinyl as well recently. So that's that. Third question, how old were you when you started collecting records? When I started buying them myself, I was 14. What is the oldest record you own? Right, well, I've got one here that's a shellac 10-inch that goes on my gramophone that I've got, and this is a lady called, a song called Busy Line, and this is by Rose Murphy on the HMV label. And Rose used to work for Count Basie. In his intermissions, she used to play jazz piano. And the record was also used in a commercial for British Telecom here in the UK in the 80s. And that was called Busy Line, as I said. And that's from April 1950. That's easily the oldest record I own. I don't own many records from the 50s, full stop, but that's right at the beginning. An album that I first got, this was The Police, Regrets de Blanc. It's the first album I ever owned. It was bought for me in Christmas 1979 by my mum and dad, and much loved. It's one of my favourite records, probably because it was the first one I ever had. You know what it's like when you get your first record, you play it to death because it's all you've got. But yeah, I still like it now. Probably not the best Police album, probably Synchronicity, but still love this one. I've also got that on a 10-inch album as well. First record I ever bought with my own money, that was the Human League and Sound of the Crowd, and that was 50p, look. And I bought this from a supermarket called Morrison's, where I live, and they used to reduce their singles when they went out of the chart to half price. So that was my first purchase. Coloured vinyl. I've cheated here because I've got a couple, because I couldn't choose between them. So it's Legend, the best of Bob Marley, which you'll all know and love. I've got Burning by Bob Marley and a couple of others, but I was seduced by the colours. And this was a 30th anniversary of the Legend album, and I think it was also released as a double album to coincide with Bob Marley's, what would have been Bob Marley's 70th birthday. It was a tragic loss when he died, and that's the second disc. And that's, yeah, really beautiful. I didn't have the original Legend, like I said. I've got Burning and Uprising, but I was taken in by that one. I think that was came out in 2014. Okay, and that was an American issue. And another coloured vinyl, because I couldn't choose between the two. This is Buzzcocks.com. So obviously a very recent Buzzcocks album, and it's like a live album, so it's sort of kind of the greatest hits. And that one came out, I think it was in 2006 this one came out. And this is a splatter, clear splatter. 4 band members on the labels. Very pretty. It's very nice when it's spinning round. I won't get the that because it's the same, but there's Steve Diggle. And of course, you know that. So Buzzcocks.com. This is your discount record. Now this one, you won't believe it, I'm sure, when I say, but this is genuine, I'm not making it up. I've got other records I could have used to do this, but this was my biggest discount one I think that I got. Probably goes for 60 quid or so, 70 quid or so normally, and I got it for £1. The story behind this one was that I used to go to this record shop that was in the student area of the city where I live. Struck up a good relationship with the guy that was running the shop, and he moved to the centre of the city a couple of years later, and he was underneath a record shop, so he was in the basement selling second hand. On the top level it was new vinyl, and to entice people into his shop he used to have sales 2 or 3 times a year like you do, but in his sale items he didn't have the usual fodder that people normally have in sales that normally sells for £1 or £2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. He'd throw in some really good stuff to entice people in. So there was a shellac album, Acton Park was in there for £1. Well, you're never going to get that for £1 anywhere. And I picked this one up as well. And this is Public Image Limited, metal box. And this normally, like I said, this normally sells for £60, yeah, tarnished. But they're all tarnished, aren't they, really? You can't get one that's in great condition. The only thing, you didn't have the A5 track listing with it, but everything else was there. Plays well. It's got the little round slips between. It's lovely. If I could open it I would, but I seem to have jammed it shut, which is handy, isn't it, when you're doing show and tell. But anyway, it's all in there. But yeah, that's my greatest discount record. I've been quite lucky with some good finds in the past, but that's probably the best one. And if you don't know it, it was post-Sex Pistols, John Lydon. It's kind of eerie guitar, shrieky lyrics, dub bass lines. Fantastic album in its own right, but the packaging is very special. This next one is a prized possession. This is the Holy Bible picture disc by Manic Street Preachers. This is the original pressing from 1994. It's quite rare. It was their 3rd album, and I don't think it came out to particularly good acclaim when it came out. And then they toured it, and sadly Richie Edwards, the guitarist who you probably know about, sadly died shortly after the tour, or disappeared I should say, and has never been found since. And if you don't know the album, it's indie rock, very depressing, could be a rainy day record as well. I mean, listen to some of the titles: She Is Suffering, Archives of Pain, The Intense Humming of Evil, Mausoleum, Die in the Summertime. All great songs. It's a really, really good album. I recommend it highly, and some interesting artwork on the front. Jenny Saville, I think, painted that. Okay, so female artist, gone for Björk, Iceland's finest. This is her first album called Debut. Human Behaviour is on here. Venus as a Boy, I think, is on here as well. And this is a 2015 repress that came as in a beige colour. And she put out 4 or 5 of her albums from the 90s, all in different colours. And I'm such a fan, I went out and bought them all. That's how much I like Björk. Amazing variation of styles. She's very beguiling, she sort of draws you in, there's something about her. Electro, the sort of electronic, sort of housey elements of this. All sorts of different styles, but yeah, Björk, it's always been my favourite female. Your favourite band? Well, this you're either going to love or hate them, really. It's the Smiths. It's my favourite band. I don't know what people think about them. People either love them or the other way, like I said. This is a 7-inch singles box that came out in 2008 and remastered 11 singles plus a demo single, which I think is still ill. And it's a numbered limited edition. I think it was probably about 10,000, because this is number 9,449. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's 15,000. It also came with some badges, pins. There, look. I don't know if you can see them very well. And a poster. And this is just a picture, a small poster of all their sleeves with their singles. And my favourite group, and I could probably make a video just of Smith stuff that I've got. I've got some quite good Rarity Smith stuff. That's them. Impulse buy. I buy a lot of impulse buys. I think we all do. We see albums by bands that we know, We don't necessarily know the album, or we see groups that are connected to other groups or have a member in from other groups. So we have a listen, or sometimes just a blind buy like this one where you know nothing about it, you're just attracted to the sleeve. And I've got a bit of a thing about black and white sleeves, ones that are sort of made at the end of the 70s, early 80s, because they're often post-punk, possibly new wave, and that's sort of probably my favourite genre, maybe because of the age I was at the time when that was all about. So I picked this one up, thinking that would be like that. It's got a black and white sleeve. Amazing, isn't it? The Crop Dusters, If the Sober Go to Heaven, this is called, and they were from the south coast of England, and apparently they played Reading the year this album came out. They were on the headliners on the second stage, sorry, and they blew everyone away, and I'm not surprised because this album is off the scale. The first side is studio, second side is live. It's just amazing. It's punk meets hoedown meets country, 3,000 mile an hour, edge of your seat stuff. Highly, highly recommended if you ever see it. It's quite rare. Probably not that many pressed, I wouldn't have thought. Made in the UK, but probably hard to get elsewhere as well, I would imagine. It's got guitar flying in, the mouth organ comes flying in, the fiddle. It's kind of like Charlie Daniels' band, Devil Goes Down to Georgia, for half an hour, super speed fiddle. Brilliant, brilliant album. Banjo Hill, the first song on side one, Just Popping Out to Fight a War, the last song on side one, starts off slow. I think it's going to be different from the rest of the songs on the first side, but it isn't. After a minute, wham, you're off. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant record. Impulse buy. Usually work out well, sometimes they don't, but on the whole they usually work out well. A recent gift, Blue Cheer, Outside Inside. This is an Italian repress that came out in the last 5 or 6 years. I haven't even opened it yet. This was a Christmas present from my children. Really like Blue Cheer. Only got into them recently. I've got Vince Bus Eruptum, the second album. They were the sort of the first heavy rock group for people who don't know about them. I'm sure all the American people watching will know. Not so well known in the UK. Formed in 1966 in San Francisco. They're famous for the cover of Summertime Blues, and this has got a cover version of Satisfaction on it, but hard rock at its finest, circa late 60s. Brilliant record. I've heard it online even though I've not opened that one yet. A record that you probably played to death is this one. Yeah, most played record. Cheating a little bit again with this one. I used to have it on cassette rather than vinyl because vinyl was quite hard to come by in 1991 when this came out. This is Pixies' Trompe le Monde. A lot of people obviously like Doolittle as their favourite Pixies album, but this is my favourite Pixies album. Got two of my favourite songs of all time on here. Distance Equals Rate Times Time and Motorway to Roswell. Fantastic album. You know about the Pixies. Loud, quiet, everybody talks about that. But it's the key changes that are totally mad, going off at a tangent, bum notes that come in that are intentionally there that work, the way they combine the acoustic and electric guitars. Nobody does it like them, and the lyrics, bizarre, by Black Francis, genius lyrics, fantastic sleeve. It's all here with this record. And when I first heard it I wasn't sure, but after 2 or 3 listens I just played it continually on my Walkman, on the bus on the way to work and on the way home. And I wore the tape out, and that's the only tape I've ever worn out. Next one is a Rarity. Gone for this one, American Stars and Bars by Neil Young. So what's rare about this one? This is Taiwanese. Really thin paper with a bit of card inside. And the series of albums at that time, 1977 when this came out, were made for the US troops in Taiwan. So they were basically unofficial copies of albums. They used to just photocopy them and colour them in. And it's on the Li Ming label. So that's a really unusual one that I picked up at a record fair. The guy put it out for and said it was Japanese. I thought, yeah, that's interesting enough. £7 or something like that. Already had the original, but it was too good to leave there, too unusual to leave there. And I spent a long time trying to look into it when I bought it, because I just couldn't find it on, I don't think I could find it on Discogs. And I did a bit of research, and there it was, yeah, Taiwanese, made for US troops who were serving there at the time. And I mean, look at the back. not very well designed, a bit messy. But you'll know the album, obviously, because Like a Hurricane's on it, which makes it the album that it is. Not my favourite Neil Young album by any means, but with Like a Hurricane you can't go wrong. And Linda Ronstadt's on here doing a bit of backing vocals, I'm sure you know. And Emmylou Harris as well. I really like Emmylou Harris. Okay, so a rainy day record, I've gone for this one. 1984, Everything But the Girl, Eden. This is, if you don't know, it's a jazzy kind of acoustic, slow, very melancholic lyrics. Most of the songs about breaking up with a partner, and Everything But the Girl. Ben Watt and Tracy Thorn are still married to this day, I think. From Hull in the north of England. And like I said, it's a very sad record, and they had quite a big hit in the UK with a song called Each and Every One. But I love this record. And again, it's one of the first albums I bought. I remember buying it from Virgin Records. Okay, next up we've got a feel-good record. I was thinking about going for the Beach Boys or the Monkees maybe, but in the end I went for the Go Team, who are from Brighton in England. And this is kind of a real hodgepodge of styles. Electro meets rap meets 70s kids TV themes. Sounds like a disaster, but it's absolutely fantastic. The band are from Brighton in England. I think it was Tom Parton is the guy that leads the group, and I think it was recorded in his kitchen, so very lo-fi as you would imagine, but it's all the better for it. Main single off here was Bottle Rocket, but Lady Flash was also a single off here. Highly recommended. Like I said, it could have fit into a couple of categories because this came out for Record Store Day in 2016, this version. Original album came out in 2004. And also the coloured vinyl, because it's strawberries and cream coloured, I call it. It's meant to be red and white as well, I think, but very pretty indeed, and a real good, feel-good, happy record. I recommend the second album probably more over that one called Proof of Youth, but that's still a really good album. Nostalgic record, I've gone for Kraftwerk, Computer World. Only I could go for an electronic record for nostalgic. I mean, it's it means a lot to me, does this one, because it's not only was it the first Kraftwerk album that I bought, and I'm a massive fan of Kraftwerk, and this sort of helps me go back in my back catalogue after buying this, because I was only relatively young when this came out, and then I went back and bought Man Machine, and then Trans Europe Express, Autobahn. But this is nostalgic to me because I used to go and visit this record when it was in a shop, in a department store in the centre of the city where I lived. One of those shops that sells everything on numerous floors, and it's called Little Ones, this particular one. Familiar to people from the UK over a certain age. And I used to go and see it every week because I couldn't afford it. I didn't have enough money. And I eventually saved enough money for it after I visited it a few times and bought it. But it brings back good memories of when I first started looking in record shops and couldn't afford anything, but I used to love browsing and flicking through all the records, a bit like I do now. Okay, Record Store Day record, I've gone for the New York Dolls, Dancing Backward in High Heels. This came out in 2011. This is their fifth album. Only two of the original members obviously on this one. And it's what you'd expect from the New York Dolls. Glam, punk, the usual stuff. Full For You Baby, first one and side one's a great song. And this came out on 180 gram audiophile pressing. So I'll plug for that one. I don't buy masses of Record Store Day stuff, but I usually make an appearance and buy a couple of things. And finally, you'll be pleased to hear, this is an album that I bought recently. I bought this one in November and it finally arrived in December. Had to order it online because it wasn't available in the UK, just in the United States. And this kind of sums up why I'm on here, because I came on here because I've been watching videos for quite a while about VC members, and what they recommend is always very important to me. It's something that I make a mental note, or sometimes I even write them down. And someone who I've been watching for a long time, or two people I've been watching for a long time, Hog's Ear Report over in Phoenix, and Vinyl Richie over in California, they both recommended this one, and Exterminators, Products of America, and I thought it sounded quite interesting from the way they described it, so I went and had a listen to what I could find online, and yeah, fantastic. This comes on blue vinyl. Like I said, it came out at the end of last year. Took a month for it to arrive here, just arrived before Christmas, and I was sweating a bit it wasn't going to arrive. And Hog's Ear Report, Ron had said, get hold of it because it's probably limited pressing. you're going to find it hard to find. And I thought it's going to be really hard to get in the UK. And then by the time mine arrived, it appeared in the UK, still in very small quantities, but for no more than I paid for it, so I didn't mind at all. There's a nice inner with an interview, inner sleeve, which says the band, and it's punk, fast and furious if you're wondering. On Slope Records, comes with this little download card. And yeah, thanks for recommending that one to me, and it also comes with a Slope Records sticker as well. So that's the end of my Vinyl Tag 2017. Hope you enjoyed it. I've got some new records that I bought recently that I'll make a video about in the next few days. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.